Hey there.
Hello.
How's
Hi.
everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Cool. Thanks for joining me today. We have another live stream podcast from the Arcadia High School CMAS program. How's everybody doing? And this is very cool. I have the stream going live on my own screen and getting a weird delay. Sorry. That was like a echo, 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 echo. That's fun. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm glad for all the people that are watching and tuning in and checking out replays and stuff. You can always catch more at arcadiacmas.com. I am here today with Tallulah and Jose and Madison and Ariana. And later we will be joined by a very special guest. But right now, I wanted to talk to you guys this week, and I know that you have one more member of your group, Jaden, who couldn't be with us today.
Yeah, he got sent to the ranch.
Yeah. No, he was trying, and he may still make it at the last minute here. He's trying, but that's okay. We'll catch him another time. But I wanted to actually talk to you guys about something. You know, we're in this new mode right now with how we do things, obviously, as far as, you know, how we are going about school and what that means for projects in the case of CMAS and everything else, and what that means for just everything. But something came up in one of our workshops, and I can't remember which one of you mentioned it. It was early on, maybe a week ago, and I was talking about how we were trying to find tools that we could still collaborate and do things. And one of you popped in and were like, "Oh yeah, a bunch of us are already getting together and trying to put together some music and things like that."
It was Jose
Maddie.
and I.
Was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was me? Okay.
That was
Okay.
Maddie.
Well, it may have been a bunch of you, but it just struck me as very interesting, the timing of that, because it occurred really early on. I was trying to ease everybody, I still am in some ways, if I'm being honest, trying to ease everybody into how this is going to work, what we're going to do, what it all means, you know, and everything involved in it. And you guys as a group on your own had already basically gone ahead and started to try to figure this out. And so part of me wants to talk to you about this because I want to brag on you guys, because that's really cool. But I also kind of want to know, where did that like what transpired? How did that start?
We were bored.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, so you guys, obviously you guys have been, I suppose for the folks that are watching this, you guys have a group that has been working in our case in first hour all year long, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, on different things anyway. So you were already connected in terms of a process. And so maybe that's part of it, I suppose, that helps. I think
Yeah.
that's a fair assessment. But I mean, like, who reached out to who first? I mean, like, how did this
We all
How
have
did
a
this go
group
down?
chat, so we just talk.
Yeah.
And try and set things
Jose
just-
technically.
Yeah, I
Jose
reached out to
started it.
Gaten first, and then the group
Yeah.
chat.
Okay. So
And then I
was
made
it
a
all
group
just
chat,
through
so-
text messaging initially, or was there another
Yeah.
element?
up. Initially,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all through text.
And then we had
So-
another Zoom call.
Yeah.
And then somebody, you did a Zoom call?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're switching between Discord and Zoom at the same time. So
Okay. So
Yeah.
tell me, and I mean this very sincerely, not just because I'm old. I mean, that's part of it. Let's, you know, who are we kidding?
yeah.
No, but why the switch between the two platforms?
well, Tallulah and Ariana don't have Discord, so
And they don't want to get it either.
they don't want to get it either. So
Okay.
I-
Okay, so let me be more specific then. What does the Discord platform offer you collaboratively? And this is not a trick or a gotcha question. Genuinely, like, what about it, even if it's as simple as I'm used to it?
it's that, and also with Zoom, you can only share one screen at a time, but with Discord, everyone in the call can share their screen with sound. So
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do know from looking into Discord for some of our, like, for this purpose, one of the problems was that you are limited to the number of people
yes.
considerably.
You can technically stream or go live in a server, which has a very absurd amount of like member cap, but
Mhm.
it's a little different.
Okay. But that's interesting. I may and we may still investigate that. I've really appreciated Zoom and the capabilities that they've offered. Frankly, on the just to facilitate things, Zoom has been really cool about, hey, we're taking away the restrictions on this during this time for teachers and everything else. Wrapping your head around the notion of me actually being a qualified teacher aside. Okay, but let's get back to your thing. So what kind of things are you guys doing with Zoom or Discord collaboratively? Are you able to even recreate the vibe that you would have in class at all?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Can you give me some examples of what's that?
Well,
it's just as chaotic.
Yeah.
except Discord, because on Discord we've been vibing.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. But like, give me some examples. Like, how are you going about like sharing? I don't know. One of you has a musical idea. What are you doing process wise?
That's what we're trying to figure out. We're just
Yeah.
trying to get ideas going, and Jose has like a MIDI, so we just try things out. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you feeling like when you do this online that you are able to still actively contribute, or do you feel like it's perfunctory, like it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we're watching it, but we're not really contributing?
personally, I think it's kind of, there are some limitations because it's not in person. It's not as involved necessarily, but
Okay.
I feel the same as in class, except I can't scream a tool if we're messing up.
Okay.
It's a little difficult because we all have different DAWs and stuff.
Okay.
So.
But you can still share and comment and
Yeah.
and work through ideas in a similar fashion, right?
Mhm.
So is it possible, and I don't know, are the things you're talking about, are they based more on limitations of the technology or more based on just not having had enough time yet to work through the adjustments to your process?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Both? Can you give me an example of maybe one or the other?
Anyone?
I
I feel like I'm taking lead and I don't want to do that.
No, you're fine. You're good.
Well, it's a little different because now that we're not in person, we can't like play instruments at the same time and kind of like bounce off of other ideas. It's sort of just like straightforward, which
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Latency. You know, we talked about that a lot in class, this idea of a couple of milliseconds between the microphone and the computer.
Yeah.
And I know that even from my own early experience with working, you know, in studios digitally, at first it's hard to wrap your brain around the idea that a millisecond or two could mess you up that much. Now it's almost exponentially worse because it's also far less consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I am working on some things to see if we can, you know, trying to see what's been out there getting developed. I actually think if there's a silver lining to any of this, it's that those types of technologies are probably going to happen now sooner than they might have otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's just simply now such a need for it. You know, the thing I've talked to a lot of people about recently is the fact that if this had happened when I was in high school about, you know, 500 years ago, we would have been at a complete standstill. I mean, we could have done like take-home packets and things. And I know there are some schools that's what they're having to do. And there's a big issue of equity and accessibility and everything else. And I am not diminishing it. But the fact that this is even a possibility, like that right now we're having a conversation and the lag in that isn't so bad. And, it, you know, because we're just talking back and forth. But you do wonder, where does this all lead? You know, who's going to be the networking company somewhere that's going to figure out that's, you know, that magic key that goes, we can now essentially instantaneously connect back and forth so that you can jam. That's the thing that I miss, funny enough, hearing in class is going around to the different studios we have. Speaking of, you know, issues of equity and accessibility, oh my gosh, that not to sound silly, but you guys are so spoiled in CMAS, and I'm so happy you are. But you know, a lot of places don't have that, but that is the thing I miss. I miss walking around from the studios or looking at the soundstage and seeing you all kind of in the moment. Oh, let me play that, or hey, I'm gonna go grab this other instrument, and you immediately can pull it into your session. What ways? And now I'm the one talking all of it. I'm sorry. What are you? What do you foresee, maybe like within the limitations of what you've already discovered and are having to deal with? What are you seeing in terms of realistic possibilities? Let's even just say for the rest of this school year. What do you think is possible between now and say the end of May?
Full bop.
Anybody?
A full bop, a full on track.
Yeah,
I say it's possible.
it's possible, all right. It's going to be a little difficult because we're working with, you know, like Soundtrap, and then we have like Band Lab, we have FL Studio, and then we have like Tallulah and Ariana who can play like physical instruments
Okay.
as well. So we're all over the place a little bit, but I think, Jose, are we using Band Lab or are we using something else?
I think Soundtrap's more convenient.
Soundtrap? Okay, then we're probably going to use Soundtrap for our project.
Okay. So,
I think, like,
sorry.
Sorry. I think us as a group, like, we'll probably get in one or two like tracks in, but I think individually we could also make a lot of music,
Yeah.
especially with all this alone time. So maybe not much as a group, but maybe as like individuals.
I wonder about that, this idea of practicing as a way to even just to not lose your mind in all of this. I think can help. I also think for all of you, is what I'm sorry, I got very distracted by, is that a capo?
Where?
This?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's like those little things.
Oh,
you squeeze.
It's like
Oh my gosh. Okay, I literally thought he had like the world's biggest capo. I thought it was like for like a, I don't know, like a 14-string guitar or something. I just really was intrigued there for a minute. No, but you know, so Ariana, I think you bring up a really interesting concept though, the idea of what you can do individually that contributes to the group. It's almost like now you do have the time to investigate your own, you know, your own things. Tallulah, before we went live, you were, you know, I happened to notice the bass in the back corner, and you kind of casually were just like, yeah, I've been sort of starting to work on playing that, and I just was thinking, okay, well, so there's a perfect example of a skill set that you clearly had available, but maybe either hadn't had time to or the motivation to pursue, and now, I hate to say it pessimistically, but like, what else are you going to do? You might as well play some bass.
Might as well.
Yeah. Which brings me, I guess, to my next question, which is, has this done anything in terms of changing? I know you're saying that you're still working on what platform you want to use in terms of which DAW, and I think Soundtrap is a great idea. We were messing in the workshop a bit over this last week, over the course of those workshops, this idea of how you can, it's got such a great collaboration feature. It is not the most powerful DAW out there, and they don't claim it as being the most powerful, but that collaboration feature is huge. It is incredibly impressive. That alone makes it worth the entirely, oh yeah, wait, it's free, which is part of it too. What I was wondering is beyond that, is this changing like decisions you're making in terms of either style or Madison, you kind of hinted at it that because you're not together, you're having to reconsider who can play what in what context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other
Yes.
musical decisions are getting affected by this?
Well, in person,
Go ahead.
really just like consistent with our ideas. Like our ideas would just fall in line one after the other. And now it's, since there are more limitations, we can't be in person. It's more like planning out, less than just things happen.
Okay. Okay. but again, to me, in a way, that's maybe a good thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naively optimistic under the circumstances, but in some ways I could see where that would be a benefit in that you would then use your group time, as it were, maybe more efficiently.
Yeah, we have more time too on top of it.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah, you can prioritize things differently.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to encourage this, but for example, theoretically, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You all happen to be up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
the idea that you can actively share ideas creatively at any time, though, is my point. I know that one of the problems we run into is we hit the end of the school day, and depending on my schedule, and it's not because I don't want you guys to be working or using the facility, but if I've got a meeting or I've got whatever and I can't stay after school, this is another way to get around that limitation, I would think,
Yeah.
of just generating the ideas. I'm not going to make you play it. I'm just curious, have you progressed to the point where you've actually been able to collectively work on something, though, and actually, like, there's a result of some kind yet?
Absolutely
Not
not.
yet. Not yet.
Absolutely not.
Just experiments.
We have ideas.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
well,
not
okay,
a-
so even in those experiments, I mean, are those, is it, there's nothing wrong if it's just a beat, but I mean, are you already able to kind of go, hey, let's add this in and then try it, hear it, and exchange ideas?
Jose has a piano part, and then Jaden was playing his reed flute yesterday, and it sounded pretty good. He also
Okay.
had a guitar with him that sounded really good with the piano. So we
Okay.
have
before
that.
we actually did stuff, we just decided to make a list of ideas
Yeah.
and start scratching off ideas we don't like or we think could work better with other stuff.
Okay, say that again. What were you using to make that list?
Just docs.
Oh, just
Yeah.
okay. So okay. See, it's so fascinating to me that you guys just on your own kind of went. The cynical part of my brain wants to phrase it as, I don't care what's happening. I still want to work with these people, so we're going to do it. And you just kind of went ahead and just did it anyway. Maybe more politely than I just phrased it, but
I mean, there's nothing else to do, so might as well.
Yeah,
no, but
pretty much.
but I think that's important, and I'm hoping that this will kind of inspire some other folks, that you're just moving your process forward regardless. And I'd be curious to see, if we checked back in, like we're going to check back in class in these workshops starting next week. I'm not going to, big surprise. That's what we've been leading towards over these first couple of weeks. Not that you have anything done, just to share it. But I'm curious to see how you refine this. I'm really curious to see what would happen when we do go back, because we will. It may not be till the fall, but at some point you're going to be back in the same space, right? It'd be really interesting to see what carries over from this experience. I don't know what that'll be. I don't know if anybody could predict it, but that to me is maybe the more fascinating possibility here. So I see that I have taken up 20 minutes of your life so far. Really more than that, because you guys got on with me a little bit earlier so I could make sure everybody was ready. Does anybody have anything else they want to add about the process or how it's going before we bring on our special guest?
No.
Okay, well, I want to say before we bring this guest on, I do want to say how much I mean this sincerely. I'm really impressed with you guys. I've been continually impressed with CMAS students for a very long time, but this stands out as a highlight to me, sincerely. This is why I wanted to have you guys on. And don't be surprised if I ask you guys to do this again with us, because I think it's interesting the way you're approaching your process and how you're not letting barriers block you. You're letting barriers kind of shape things and just you're using them to your advantage, I guess is my point. And I really
Thank you, Mr.
like
Rat.
that.
That's touching.
I didn't mean any of it. Did you just make a rat joke?
Yeah.
Yes.
I told you. I warned you.
Really?
I told you.
That's fair.
The whole
Although,
Moscow
I
thing.
actually, to be fair,
your
I
own
guess I'll
rat.
close by saying, Tallulah, I'm impressed. You went 21 minutes without any rat jokes.
I had to really just try hard not to.
I was going to say, this is going to end and you're going to be like on overload from them. You'll have to like find a way to expel them out of your system now, probably.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's cool. Well, speaking of expelling things out of systems, I want to bring on our special guest. So let me.
You got it. Come on.
Our
Beautiful
special
segue.
guest is, where's our special
Hello?
guest? There's our special guest.
Hello?
Oh, there's our special guest.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you though. Oh, there's our
Hello.
special guest.
Hey.
Guys,
So there's our special guest.
how's it going?
This is Eric Luce.
Hi.
He also works at Arcadia. He is
Yep.
the A&N and film and video instructor. And he does some really quite wonderful things. Unfortunately, we are out of time right now, and I'm sorry, we're gonna have to push Mr. Luce's segment.
What is it talk about?
So we can't hear you. I'm sorry. You know what? The production crew, they've cut your feed. I can't. It's we can't really. No, see, I don't know.
Oh,
It's
dear.
really, he's just ranting now, isn't he? He's just what? Hopples? Really? Was he
What
on-
is that?
is- I was gonna ask
Star
before you
Wars.
start. You can't. No, can't hear you. So anyway, we'll try to reschedule Mr. Luce. Our apologies for running out of time on him. This is you know, I don't really. I apologize to our audience. I really don't know what's happening in that corner of the screen right now. You know, but there you go. Please come back next week. Join us at arcadiacmas.com anytime. You know, oh, that's unfortunate. We've lost his video too now. That's really sad. I don't know what happened. I'll have to check with the production crew. You know what? Everybody's learning how this stuff works, I guess. I don't really know, but we will be back next week with another podcast. We've got a couple live concerts already up. There'll be another one coming. We've got some live music that's coming out later today. I want to thank, in all sincerity, Tallulah and Jose and Madison and Ariana for joining us. And again, apologies to Eric Luce. We will do our best to get him back on again at some point and fix those technical issues that we were having. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful weekend, and we will see you all very soon on our next edition of all of this.